Released by Konami in 2005 on the PlayStation 2 and Xbox, Castlevania Curse of Darkness would tell a smaller story in the life of Trevor Belmont and Dracula. Directed by Takashi Takeda and written by Koji Igarashi, it would challenge traditional Castlevania gameplay alongside telling a story not about Castlevania or a Belmont. For story, the game features a former general of Dracula named Hector who seeks revenge against the schemes of rival general Isaac, as it takes place after Castlevania 3 Dracula's Curse and before Castlevania the Adventure. For gameplay, the game is an action-adventure requiring the player to fight their way through the surrounding countryside and eventually innards of a fallen castle. For combat, Hector can use a variety of weapons, ranging from swords and axes to Gatling guns and electric guitars that each have light and heavy attack combinations, but his main strength is creating a partner monster called an Innocent Devil. Each Innocent Devil is one of 6 different classes and not only grants bonuses to Hector's stats but can grow and evolve into different monsters with different abilities with experience from combat. Money can be collected and spent in a shop for consumable and crafting materials, and there is a collectible side quest to sit on every chair in the game. Compared to other installments, design emphasis is more on combat rather than platforms and puzzle solving. In addition, after the game is beaten, a new playthrough can be done with Trevor Belmont utilizing his signature whip and sub-weapons instead of monster companions. The story only gets larger from here, so let's cut it down to size with a recapitation. Set in the year 1479, it's been 3 years since Trevor Belmont famously defeated the Dark Prince Dracula. Unfortunately, they did not rid the land of evil that easily, as when Dracula fell, he left a demonic curse that ravaged all of Europe with disease and famine, sowing murderous misery among the people. We now see a man named Hector dash into a ruined former castle of Dracula, calling out for another man named Isaac. Isaac shows himself, still bitter at how Hector's betrayal of Dracula 3 years ago aided in the fall of their master, but Hector is more focused on revenge against Isaac for the murder of his wife. Isaac mocks him, as Hector lost his power when he left his old life behind as a Devil Forge Master, a unique alchemist of forbidden art that can conjure weapons or even living creatures from basic elements. Only 2 humans keep this knowledge, Hector and Isaac refuses to kill Hector now, instead inviting him to reclaim Devil Forging and pursue him so that they may settle things properly, and Isaac can instead have the satisfaction of revenge himself. Forced to take the bait, Hector moves to chase Isaac, accepting he must once again walk his dark past and reclaim his forsaken power. Isaac goes even so far as to present Hector with a simple fairy devil to practice with. Indulging, Hector finds he still has the knack, though is met by a dark-robed priest named Zed, who claims he is here on a mission to cleanse the land. He identifies Hector's practice of devil forging, and gives him direction on Isaac's whereabouts. Hector finds it awfully suspicious how Zed knows as much as he does, but Zed explains helping Hector defeat Isaac also helps Zed with his mission. Accepting his advice, Hector advances ahead, barreling past the skeletons and obstacles in the basement. Climbing up, he clashes with the crazy armor, earning new power with a battle-type devil. Emerging outside, Hector makes his way up the mountains where he comes across a woman he almost mistakes for his dead wife. Collecting himself, he asks for information about Isaac, mentioning how they are enemies, and upon hearing this, the woman opts to assist him. She also knows he is a Devil Forge Master, and knows he cannot keep all his creations with him at once, and offers to look after the ones he benches until needed. She introduces herself as Julia, a witch who escaped the hunts, and reveals she has the power to envision the future. Still bothered how Julia looks exactly like his dead wife, he still accepts her merchant services and supplies. Atop the mountain, Hector hunts a monstrous wyvern in fiery high-flying battle. Moving to a mountain monastery, Hector is met by a mysterious man named Saint Germain, who urges him not to pursue Isaac. Hector is confused as Isaac wants to be followed, and Germain simply states he is here to maintain the flow of greater will. Irritated at this response, Hector dismisses him, but Germain relates he knows how his wife was killed as a witch based on false allegations, which bothers Hector more. Germain reveals he knows a great deal of things, but is obligated not to act upon them as an observer. He asks Hector once more to consider his request and promptly warps away. Soon after, an imposing man with a whip stops Hector and promptly attacks him for being a Devil Forge Master. They duel, but Hector cannot keep up with the man's fighting skill at all, and confused the man stops, stating he heard a Devil Forge Master was one whose power rivaled death, but Hector seems far too weak to be that person. Hector states the man must be looking for Isaac too, and the man recalls how 3 years ago there was another Devil Forge Master who betrayed Dracula. Introducing himself as Trevor Belmont, the man who defeated Dracula alongside his companions, he turns to leave Hector in peace. Thinking to follow Trevor on his hunt, Hector instead finds Zed again, who points him towards the forest and village beyond, but suddenly takes his leave. On cue, Germain now warps in, again warning Hector not to pursue his current course, but leaving quickly as right now he is searching for another party whose presence is outside his awareness. Hector is hardly slowed by the skeleton diver lurking in the aqueducts, and afterwards earns an avian ally. Entering the Dark Forest, he overhears a conversation between Germain and Zed, in which Germain questions Zed's interference and Zed replies with a sneak attack, though it's completely ineffective as Germain easily evades and warps around Zed, cheerfully taking his leave for now. As Zed then cuts a portal to leave as well, Hector clearly sees neither are mere mortal men. At the forest's edge, Hector must match a massive minotaur, as beyond in the town of Cordova, he discovers a very curious circle of chairs, naturally taking the time to sit in all of them. At the edge of town, Hector catches up to Isaac, who treats their duel as a test of Hector's progress. However, Julia interrupts their match, calling out to her brother, Isaac. Spotting her, Isaac quickly withdraws from the fight, claiming it's still too early to settle things properly between them as he takes his leave. Hector tries to cut off his escape, but Julia actually halts him on this too. Hector accuses her of treachery, but Julia insists she does want her brother stopped, but she stopped the fight for Hector's sake too, since he truly isn't ready yet. Wondering why she doesn't solicit Trevor Belmont then, she reveals Isaac is under Dracula'S Curse, and it's one only Hector can defeat. Not only that, but Isaac has always respected Hector, and if anyone were to end him, he chose Hector. Hector takes these words to heart, apologizes for accusing her, and takes his leave, knowing that defeating Isaac isn't just for his personal sake anymore. Relearning how to harness the power of a devilish dark mage, Hector's journey takes him to the top of the Twisted Tower of Machinery. Conveniently waiting for him on his path is Saint Germain again, who confesses he fell into Zed's trap for him in this room. He finds this room is partially freed from the effects of time, and as such his powers may be reduced here, but instead he can actually physically impact this space. He produces a blade, stating he could even duel Hector here, and challenges him, claiming all he needs to know will be revealed. The temporal traveler is full of tricks, but Hector passes the test in time. After surrendering, Germain promises not to interfere further, and comments how strange time, or rather fate, truly is. He explains that as a time traveler he is only partially here, and is meant to say nothing and touch nothing, but after their duel, shares with Hector that he feels a new destiny growing out of him now, and to proceed forward without any fear. As the barrier trap around them falls, he urges Hector to give Zed his regards, and warps away as Hector relearns how to forge devils of his own making now. Descending down to the dismal depths of the deadly dungeon, Hector walks in on Trevor fighting and pressuring Isaac. Isaac denounces Trevor's victory over Dracula as a fluke, but upon seeing Hector, opts to retreat for now. Seeing this, Trevor recognizes that Hector is indeed no ally of Isaac, and was telling the truth earlier. Still, he insists he will be the one to vanquish Isaac, and so Hector can sit this one out, going on ahead. Zed now steps out of the shadows to pity the lost opportunity of an amazing team-up, but Hector disagrees, stating it's best if Isaac is defeated by him alone. Accepting this, Zed reveals where Isaac has fled to, pointing to some ruins, though before leaving, Hector mentions Saint Germain. Now suddenly alarmed at something, Zed beats a hasty exit. Catching up to Trevor, Hector shares what Zed told him, and Trevor knows Isaac must be in a secret chamber beneath the castle, yet it is one only the blood of a Belmont clan can open. Realizing now why Isaac hastily fought him earlier, he then turns to Hector, urging him to prove his own strength, and forces him into a fight. As they clash, Trevor is impressed at how dramatically different he is from before, and is now confident Hector can handle the task ahead. Taking out a dagger, he draws blood and uses it to open a gate to Isaac, allowing Hector to continue the hunt. As he pushes ahead in the infinite corridor, he discovers its center and defeats a daunting Dullahan, whose many sealed souls now escape. Upon doing this, a storm breaks out elsewhere to reveal a sunken castle, though its sheer emanation of power is quickly recognized by Hector as Dracula's castle. Trevor senses it too, wondering if he arrived too late, though Isaac sneaks up behind him to stab him in the back. He explains he let Hector discover the seal, and made sure the power Hector released during a battle with the guard Trevor left himself would be enough to break the seal, even if unknowingly. As Isaac lets Trevor fall to his wounds, Hector approaches the newly risen castle, and Julia is there to confirm it is indeed Dracula's castle, still teeming with a powerful curse. Insisting he is the only one who can find and stop the demonic power raging within, Julia warns that with the return of the castle, Dracula may have returned as well, and Hector would be susceptible to his curse. He thinks to ask Trevor to handle Dracula again, but Julia informs him she just saved Trevor from a near-mortal wound thanks to Isaac and is in no shape to fight now. Sending her home, Hector moves on ahead through the castle gates, braving the beasts and battles that bar his way. As a sampler of the world's chairs, Hector then enjoys playing an ironic pachinko machine, planning ahead on a porcelain throne, swinging for a little bit, and more to complete his collection, all while unlocking the eternal mystery of the ultimate devil type, Pumpkin. Now prepared, Hector confronts Isaac, who thanks Hector for raising the castle, as was his plan all along. With this, he intends to exact his revenge for the fall of Dracula and his own personal embarrassment before Hector. The two Devil Forge Masters lock blades and creations, though it is Hector who emerges triumphant, ready to impale Isaac with his own sword. Suddenly, the words of Julia ring in his ear, and Hector stops himself from falling prey to savage bloodlust. Horrified at realizing the murderous intent creeping up upon him is Dracula'S Curse at work, he struggles to maintain a grip on his mind. Now entering the scene, amused at it all, is Zed, who was impressed how Hector did not fall prey to the curse. Regardless, his efforts helped Zed's mission as well, as Zed summons a coffin and places Isaac within it. He explains Devil Forge Masters are infused with Dracula's magic, and thus they are the perfect vessels for his rebirth. Hector was the prime pick, hence why he was led here and allowed to regain his demonic powers, but since he rejected the curse, they could no longer use him. Summoning a legendary scythe, Hector recognizes it and realizes Zed's true identity as Death, Grim Reaper and loyal servant to Dracula. Dropping his massage, Death sends his seeking sickles after Hector, but it's not enough as Hector edges out a victory. Now climbing a ruined stairway, Hector is in time for Death's coffin to explode, revealing a hastily resurrected Dracula, who quickly greets Hector and questions why he betrayed him. Hector explains that when Dracula began slaughtering all humans indiscriminately, he had no choice but to disobey. Dracula viewed his work as cleansing the world of the weak, especially after the humans had judged him harshly in the past. For betraying him, Dracula sentences him to death, but bracing himself, Hector stands ready and refuses to run like last time. Dracula's dark sorcery is pitted against Hector's Devil Forge mastery, forcing the Dark Prince to ascend to his demonic form. As Hector wins, Dracula staggers back, wondering if the transformation was incomplete, and Hector agrees. Dracula instead states his curse will continue to spread and fester in humans until they destroy themselves, but Hector counters that as a Devil Forge Master, he has the power to turn that curse into something harmless, so Dracula can just rest in peace. As his soul leaves the body of Isaac behind, Hector makes good on his word and attempts to transmute all of Dracula's curse. The convergence of power is too great at first, but Hector succeeds in lifting the curse that drove Isaac to madness and caused the death of his wife. Exhausted, he contemplates letting go and dying here, but Julia rushes in, saying his debt is paid off, and insisting he should live true to his heart now instead. Agreeing with her, she warps them both out to safety as Dracula's castle collapses onto itself. As the game ends, they look over the destruction as Julia thinks it will still be some time before the curse completely leaves the hearts of humans, but has faith in their strength and hope for tomorrow. As the sun rises on a new day, Saint Germain agrees to this side, stating that as a time traveler, tomorrow means something different to him, but for now, time has stabilized, and he is more interested in jumping to the future now to witness the final battle between Dracula and the humans. As Julia walks with Hector, she asks him his plans now, and he confesses he needs to find a place to hide himself and his friends from the curse until it fully subsides. She then invites him to live with her in her secluded cottage, and liking the idea, he agrees and follows her inside. Castlevania Curse of Darkness has enjoyed the success of selling over 540,000 copies worldwide.